There it is. So, hello again. My name's Christopher Vujacic. I'm one of 5 members from NOA Limited, and as Tim said, we were commissioned to do this survey starting mid-2024. Essentially, it's the questions to SPA and some non-SPA members to see what their views on the association were. And before starting, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who participated. I know I spoke to some of you in this room, and thank you very much for your input. So as I mentioned, just a bit of background information. This was last undertaken over 10 years ago, and that survey only received just under 20 responses. This time round, we got over 35, which was a great improvement. We got member and non-member feedback on a number of different topics, such as conference agenda, ring of defense, training initiatives, and also, very importantly, what business issues are on the minds of sheep plant owners. As I said, the timelines, we started in June last year, did some member and non-member interviews, and today is the short form survey presentation, but if you're interested, there'll be a full report available to members after the conference. In a bit, I'll hand over to Neil, and he'll give you a bit more information on the database that we're currently building. So these were some of our findings. So the first question we asked is, what do members like the most about the SPA? As you can see, by far it's fairly evenly distributed, but networking opportunities was definitely the main response. Some quotes here saying that people enjoyed the camaraderie sharing with other people at these conferences, and also they like seeing people who they otherwise wouldn't be in contact with. Also, people were very positive about the industry news and updates it provides. Again, the ring of defense, the development programs such as the emerging leaders, and then, as you can see, a few more there below. Also, some other comments on how the SPA promotes the best practice and standards, and for some people, it serves as an insurance policy. So, as you can see here, the results quite evenly spread out. This was the key issues that sheep plant owners believed they were facing in today's climate. Recruitment with 10, but then again, sales, competition, costs, all fairly even. Interestingly, legislation also making an appearance there, and skills, which is in a way linked to recruitment. Since COVID, people were saying they were having very high turnover rates, and they were finding it hard to retain employees. Again, skills shortages for certain roles. Also, some environmental concerns about the issues with becoming carbon neutral, for instance. But then again, sales, competition, costs, competing with larger companies for the same type of work which they never used to be fighting these big companies for. So again, some very, very interesting topics there. This was a question about satisfaction with membership. As you can see, very positive outcome. Most people were satisfied, very satisfied with their membership, and 19 out of 28 members who answered said that they were very likely to recommend this membership to others. Many people said they believed the committee was doing a good job, and again, back to the networking opportunities, they believed that it was a great place to network with others and share struggles and issues. Again, people saying that they believe that this was great for all UK sheep plants. A comment over there, someone mentioned that they believed it wasn't necessarily as appropriate for people with merchanting in their portfolios. Nonetheless, it's definitely an association they'd recommend for any type of sheep plant. So this is the final question I'll be sharing with you, and I'll be going through the top 3 changes: conference content, member support, and communication. And after each one, I'm going to hand over to Neil to give a bit of a debrief on each of the comments. So conference content, the most voted option in this survey was that the main comment was the agenda can be quite congested. People were saying that over 2 days, well, day and a half really, there's probably too much information packed in. Other people, in terms of training and sales, said that they wanted to see some more product knowledge, especially a lot speaking about new starters as well. Similar for content on types of boards and tolerances, and again, training on potentially manufacturing, on machinery. Someone else asking about more M&A, buying, selling businesses content, and then, as I'm sure I've already repeated myself, repetition of similar content. But then, again, emerging leaders sales training programs was one of the most requested, of the best feedback that was received. So I'll let Neil answer some of these.
Thank you, Chris. We thought it would be useful that somebody or somebodies from the SPA committee come and answer these immediately as a response. The first one is it's no luck. We purposely designed the agenda to be broad and give as much variety as possible to encourage a room full as we have now. So we do make it jam-packed. I think in terms of product knowledge and training, a lot of people have talked to me about training today. And in terms of product knowledge, we did have a go in I think it was around design. So there are some other courses that we look to try and run, but there's an enormous amount of videos available on the website that people could access. Don't miss the opportunity. So that is available. And in terms of training and machinery training, we do have that every now and again. We undertake that, but again, go back to the website. There's available information there. Speakers on buying and selling businesses. Every couple of years we have an M&A session. We're due to have one soon. I think we're destined to have that in June. So do come along if that's something that you're interested in, either buying or selling a business. And then not enough content on types of boards and tolerance. I might have to ask you, Tim, about that as an answer.
It's very difficult. Hello, are we up? Yes, there we go. It's very difficult. On the previous point as well about training on certain machines and manufacturing processes, it's very difficult to put together a training course like that because everyone has such different machinery and does so many different things with that machinery and making very, very different products. So to get a generic course, other than it being so basic that this is a cut and this is a crease, it's very, very difficult to do. And similarly with putting together a course on papers and boards, all your suppliers will have different papers. They'll have a different corrugator, they'll have different performances, different BCTs, different ECTs. It's very difficult to train a generic program to bring people up to the same standard of knowledge because all your suppliers will have a very different offering. So they're my comments there. But we take this all on board because our purpose here is to make these conferences excellent and make membership really valuable. So.
Just to pick up the last point, Emerging Leaders Sales Training Program. You saw two of our emerging leaders here. You've heard feedback. A number of people have been asking us about the Emerging Leaders Program. When's the next cohort? We've decided that we're going to move the start of cohort 2 to September of 2025. So please put your applicants forward. We've already got a nice handful of people, but we need a dozen or so in order to kick it off. So please, if you want applicants, we're waiting a little bit longer, September. So just to pick up on that.
So just a couple more comments here. In terms of member support, another comment on seeing more sheet plans as opposed to suppliers at these meetings. Getting back to networking, having more of the strength of a community was very helpful for quite a few people. Some people, larger companies, said that they didn't necessarily use the member support as in the ring of defense necessarily, as they have a lot of these benefits within their structure. And then some people were not really sure about what the support was. So again, I'll hand over to
I'd like to answer that first point if I can. It becomes increasingly difficult for us to get more and more sheet plants here We've had the narrative today that there were 600, there's now just over 200. About 95% of them 95 out of the 208 are in membership, which is great. But to try and get them all here every time, 3 times a year, is actually very, very difficult. Part of the reason why we've done the second bit of work, which Neil's going to share with us, we need to know where every sheep plant is, because if they're not members, that's where our growth is. That's when we're going to get more sheep plants here. We can't ask the same members to come more frequently than they can. They come as often as they can. So, the second part of this presentation is really about how we found out where everybody is and what we're going to do with that data. But part of it is a recruitment drive to get those sheep plants that don't attend to come here and get the benefit. Thank you.
Yeah. So the final point is on communication. Some people wanted a bit more transparency on what the membership fees entailed, as well as training, more of a logistics question as well, in terms of knowing the dates further in advance. Some people said they'd like to see better advertising or a newsletter, but then again, lots of people saw it as a double-edged sword and didn't want to be bombarded with information.
Yeah, now we've taken all these on board, and I feel like I'm defending myself, but here we go. The transparency on membership fees, that's very, very difficult, because this trade association started with, if you were a sheep plant with one factory, you were a member, and everybody paid the same. So we had lots of members who all had a single plant. More increasingly now, companies are being bought by other companies, and might be a group of 6, 7, 8, 12 sheep plants. Now we can't just charge them one membership. It's very, very difficult, nor can we charge them 14 times what the membership is. So we're learning as a trade association now. It's not one sheep plant, one membership now. We have to have a nuanced fee structure, and we're learning. So forgive me if we haven't been as clear as we can. This is new to us. We're not single operators any longer. We've got a lot of people in this room who are part of groups, and that's going to continue. So we have to get better at this. And we do now have 3 different types of membership. We have a single plant membership, a multi-site membership, and also a national or international footprint membership. So we're getting better at it. But it's difficult because if I'd had this conversation with you 6 months ago about what your company should pay for membership, it might be different now because you've acquired 3 more companies. And those 3 companies might have been SPA members that were all paying individual membership. So we can't keep losing as a trade association. We have to keep our funding up. So apologies for that. We've taken on board what you say about dates of future events. You'll have my final slide today before you go to the bar and enjoy, is all about our future events, and we've fleshed out the next 2 dates for our next 2 conferences and the trade show for next year, so you'll have those dates well in advance. We've looked at the feasibility of a newsletter. It's very, very difficult. News happens today. It's out of news tomorrow. To get a monthly newsletter which is relevant is very, very difficult. All I'd say is look at our socials. We're posting everything that is happening on a day-to-day basis. I personally think newsletters are a little bit old hand, and just look at the socials. You'll get up-to-date news from that. Okay, thank you.
That's it from me, and I'll pass over to Neil now.
Thank you, Chris. So as Tim said, there's a second part to this, which is a database of sheep plants being collected. And so just to give you a bit of summary information on this. We know that we've got a very up-to-date list of sheep plants. As Tim said some years ago, 600. We've identified 241. We've had a few closures, but we've also encouragingly had a few extras that we didn't know about. And as Tim said, from an SPA point of view, it allows us to be able to approach some people and encourage them to take advantage of some of those things that both members and non-members have indicated are important to them. Just a bit of detail, £2.8 billion worth of turnover is wrapped up in those 241 companies, and about 11,000 employees. So we're a big employer, we're a reasonable employer. And we've got details of individual turnovers of plants, employee numbers, and postal and electronic addresses, which should be, as Tim says, attractive to some of you supplier members. That's the message for us. We're pulling together that information. It is something that would be available. If you are interested, then we would be very keen to know that you're interested. and more details will be available at the June conference. I think that's it. There we go.
It is actually our intention at the June conference to have that available. So my initial thoughts are there'll be a bound copy, so if you wanted it like a directory, that will be available, so you have a physical hard copy. But also we'd get it to you electronically in either a CSV or an Excel spreadsheet format, so that you can use it for your own marketing and your own approaching of sheep planters' customers. So I think it's going to be a really useful tool for suppliers who want to know where all their potential customers might be, and it's going to be fantastic for us for membership drive as well. So if you want it on day one, come to the June conference, because we'll actually be dispersing that information at the June conference. There'll be a small charge if you want that data, but it's going to be hundreds of pounds, not thousands of pounds. Okay? Thank you.